Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Om Swastiastu, Shalom, Namo Buddhaya, Salam Kebajikan, Salam Agromedis. The Honorable, the Dean of Faculty of Medicine, University of Jember, and welcome to our distinguished speaker, Assistant Professor Athirananda Kumar, Magister of Science, Doctor of Philosophy from Department of Epidemiology and Preventive Medicine, Kagoshima University, Japan, and all our lecturer, staff, and students from Faculty of Medicine, University of Jember, and audience who have joined us today in the venue or via Zoom meeting. Everyone, good morning and welcome to today's event, the guest lecture, Tobacco-Induced Cancer in the Indian Cohort and Existing Tobacco Control Programs. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce myself. My name is Fatih Rosdiana as the master of the ceremony. Before we start, we inform you that this conference is broadcasting live in our YouTube channel, Agromedis TV. And to make sure that the seminars can be held smoothly, we would like to inform you to keep your phone on silent mode. And to all of the participants who join in the venue, you can ask a question via open mic only during the discussion session. And for the participant in the Zoom meeting, you can ask at any time via Zoom chat. The first agenda is the opening with Indonesian National Anthem and Jember University hymn. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand up. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Now we go to the next agenda. We will listen to the opening remarks from Dr. Septa Suryawahyudi, Geology Specialist, as the Chairman Committee of this event. For Dr. Septa, the time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, all participants, ladies and gentlemen. First, I said thanks to God that because His mercy and His blessing, He will come join and gathering for this moment, for this event. Secondly, I say thanks to Dean, Vice of Dean, Dr. Denny, radiologist, because he is supporting this event. And also, I warm welcome to Assistant Professor Atira, MS PhD, sparing time to hear, giving some knowledge, and sparing your time too for your experience in the cohort research. I hope enjoy being Jember, and especially try to culinary food in Jember. It's truly a pleasure for all participants today because I see that many enthusiastic participants coming today because this is the holiday week, I think, for students. They're coming today, then I so thanks for all. This event will talk about tobacco and inducing cancer. That we know tobacco, it's daily contact with us, with Jember especially, and we want to know that's the real make induce cancer or not. So Professor Atira coming absorbs all knowledge, contact, and take a chance to collaborative research in the next step. I hope this is not the last agenda for Atira, but this is the first stepping stone toward to make a more collaborative in the future. And the last, enjoy this event, and I say sorry maybe and during this event it's any uncomfortable condition. And the last, I say that take a lot of information and message for home, and make sure that I hope there's vision of medical faculty to be a center of Agromedis South Asia in 20 and 25 make real. I hope. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you so much, Dr. Septa, for the amazing speech. Next, we would like to invite Dr. Heni Fatmawati, Radiology Specialist, Neurology Head and Neck Tissue Specialist Consultant, as the representative of Faculty of Medicine, University of Jember. Dr. Heni, the time is yours.
Good morning and best wishes. The Honorable Dean Faculty in University Jember, the Honorable Speaker of Guest Lecture, the Honorable Guest Lecture Committee, and all participants the guest lecture. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, let's pray thanks to our God who has given us His mercies and blessing us until we can attend this meeting in excellent condition and health. Secondly, my salawat and salam with the Prophet Muhammad SAW, who has guided us from darkness to the lightness, this word as well the next word. Today, the Faculty of Medicine, University Jember, organized the guest lecture with topic tobacco-induced cancer in Indian cohort and existing tobacco and control program. It is truly privilege of the opportunity to learn from the such experienced and knowledgeable expert, the medical microbiology from Kagoshima University, Japan. Assistant Professor Atira Nadakumar, MS, PhD. Welcome to University of Jember. Welcome to Jember City. The world today facing is many challenges. One of them is the health sector, as will be discussed today regarding tobacco. As we all know, people who use tobacco product or who are regularly around the environment tobacco smoke have an increased risk of cancer because it's many chemicals that damage DNA. This guest lecture will be valuable and informative experience for all of us. So let's make the most of opportunity and take away something new and exciting to share with our peers. Hopefully, we can further understand and the impact of tobacco on the incidence of cancer and tobacco control program and implement in Indonesia, especially Jember, as an effort to prevent cancer caused of tobacco. I think enough for the speech of this occasion. I apologize if in my speech there are words that feel inappropriate. Thank you very much for the occasion and your kind attention. I do hope you enjoy this lecture. And the last I say wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you so much, Dr. Heni, for the great speech and officially opening this event. Before we start to the next agenda, in hope that this event can be held smoothly, let's pray according to our respective beliefs. The prayers begin. Thank you so much. Before we next to the main agenda, we would like to have some documentation for Dr. Heni as the Vice Dean of Faculty of Medicine of Jember, and to Honorable Assistant Professor Atira Sensei, and also Dr. Septa, Dr. Ancha, and Dr. Laksmi. Please join us in the front to take documentation together. Documentation will be start in 3, 2, 1. Again, 3, 2, 1. Maybe with agromedicine pose. Okay, in 3, 2, 1. Okay, next the documentation will be with all of the participants. To the all participants in the venue, please all stand up and do the agromedicine pose together. For the participant in the behind, please come forward so we can see all of you in the camera. And please move to the center. For all participants, please come forward and move to the center. Okay. The documentation, okay, be ready. The documentation will start in 3, 2, 1. Again, In 3, 2, 1. With Agromedis in post, once more. Okay, be ready. In 3, 2, 1. Okay, thank you very much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the next agenda is the guest lecture by Assistant Professor Atiranda Kumar, Doctor of Philosophy. This lecture will be guided by Dr. Laksmi Indraswari, General Surgery Specialist, as the moderator. Dr. Laksmi is the lecturer in the Faculty of Medicine, University of Jember, and also a general surgeon in the Subandi Hospital. For Dr. Laksmi, the time is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everybody. Thank you. Okay, even though this is in the middle of holiday for you guys, and not for us, it's not a big problem. Just focus for the next 1.5 hours ahead. I hope we all gonna have new insights about what might happen if we get close to tobacco in every kind of aspect. But before we go on to Assistant Professor Atira, I would like to read her short CV. Ada nggak? Can you show it? So, yeah. She got Bachelor of Science in General Microbiology in India, and then she got her PhD in Medical Sciences in the Kagoshima University on 2014, and now she's the assistant professor in Department of Epidemiology and Preventive Medicines in Kagoshima University Graduate School of Medical and Dental Sciences in Japan. We have so many work experience, and her publications within 10 years, there's a lot of, I'm not going to read it one by one. So to make everything short, Atira, would you please join me? Thank you. How are you? Yeah. You're gonna share right from here. Do you wanna stand there or do you wanna sit? Is it okay? I really hope it's okay for her to share the PowerPoint by sitting. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. She's a bit under the weather, but she still tried to manage everything for us.
I
Thank
will do
you.
my best to
Yeah.
finish 1.5 hour.
Okay, so Atira, you have any time you need to share us about your work. Sudah. Okay,
Thank you.
all yours.
Yeah, thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. I'm very happy that even though in the middle of holiday season you are here, and yeah, for students it's holiday, for the staff it's normal. I understand that feeling also. I came here around 10 plus days. I got a bit sick. Maybe the weather or food, or I don't know. Yeah, but I will try to talk today without getting more sick. Yeah, my name is Atira. I'm from Kagoshima University. So this works. Can you see the pointer? Yeah. So this is Japan, and then here is Kagoshima. The southern point of Japan is the Kagoshima, where we have our university, and here you see is the medical faculty. So where I work. So the Kagoshima University has different faculties. So the medical faculty is a bit far. Probably Petri can explain that later to us about the university campuses. So in the epidemiology and preventive medicine department, we have 4 staff, teaching staff, and then we have several students in 2022 from Jember University. We had 2 students, she and Rijal. And now, at this time, probably they are also watching online from Kagoshima University, Maureta and Ilham. They are also in my department now. They are in research exchange students from Jember University. And then the third picture here is Dr. Anja. When we were students, she was my junior. 1 year junior in PhD course. So we worked together and we went around Japan together, many places. I just had the memory of like, this is 13 years ago, 14 years ago, now in 2024, it's 14 years ago. So this point, I would like to say thank you to all of you from the day I came here. So this picture up there, this is the first day I visited the Jember University. We had a nice interaction with all your faculty members. It was amazing. I got to learn a lot. And over these 10 days, we went to many places related to tobacco. Tobacco museum, tobacco center, the research center, treatment plan, and today again another research center where they make, other than cigarettes and tobacco, the other products of tobacco. So I was quite happy when I took this picture because I have never seen a tobacco plant in my life. So this was a dream come true. Thank you so much for all of you for that preparation, because I learned a lot during these 10 days in Jember, even though I was sick. So maybe I don't need to talk about much about the other researchers, but one of the main thing I work is the Indian cohort. I will tell the details later. So in Kagoshima city, we also have a volcano. So the name is Mount Sakurajima. It erupts every day, and we study the activity of volcano, the effects on human health. So moving on to my topic, that is the tobacco-induced cancers in Karnagapalli cohort and existing tobacco control programs. So maybe you are familiar with the Indian map, I don't know. So this is India. So this the yellow part down here, the small state, we say states in India, like United States like that. So we also say states. So Kerala is here. So our cohort is in this black dot part. So in this talk, I would like to highlight tobacco practices in India, prevalence of the tobacco use, public health impact for tobacco use in India, that highlight the Karnagapalli cohort. That's the name of the place. So we named the cohort on the name of the place. So that's why it's called Karnagapalli cohort, related to tobacco use, and the key initiatives for tobacco control at our center. And I would also like to highlight the Kerala model of tobacco control. So as I learned after coming to Jember that even in Indonesia, the tobacco was brought here by Dutch. So it's the same in India also. So in the 17th century, so the Dutch people came to India with tobacco. They gave us tobacco and took back our spices. It's the same story. And then later, when we were colonized by British thought it's a good idea to make more companies and make more money from that. So now India is the second largest consumer of tobacco products in the world and third largest producer of tobacco as such. Probably maybe Indonesia is the 1 or 2, I guess, after seeing all the Jember areas work, yeah. So in India, in addition to cigarette is there, but more than cigarette or cigar, the most popular one is BD. So you can see the picture here. So the BD was made in India actually, and out of the BD we make, 85% Indians only consume. So, and that is around 50% of our tobacco market in India. So what is BD? BD is So we kind of dry the tobacco flakes and then roll in a leaf. So you can see here, and roll with the thread around, and then the people just smoke. Probably I heard that you also have a similar alternative here. Yeah. And when 8 BDs are sold, only 1 cigarette is sold. It's because of the cost, because it's super cheap. So anyone can get it. So people tend to buy BD than cigarette. So, and as you know, maybe the cigarette itself has some extra agents to keep the light. So, but BD doesn't have that kind of thing. So it is more hard for the lungs of the smoker, because you need to take more puff to keep the light. So for example, if a cigarette person take 9 puffs per minute, or the gap, at the same time around 28 puff BD smoker has to take. So you can imagine, like 9 and 28. So it's so much harmful for the internal organs, especially the lungs. We think lungs, but there are so many organs which I will show you later. And BD has no filter, and it contains more nicotine, carbon monoxide or tar, and an endless number of carcinogens. And it is usually produced as a cottage industry, and because it's a poor man's cigarette, so it's also favorite of rural people. So BD has more hazardous chemicals than cigarette. So the mainstream smoke of BD contain high concentration of toxic agents, and it can deliver 3 to 5 times more nicotine and other things. So the carcinogenic hydrocarbons are 1.5 times more than the cigarette. And that means it's harder to the smoker's lung than the cigarette. So that's why we had to study BD, not just cigarette. So that shows the deleterious effect of BD in comparison to cigarette. So the next is about the smokeless tobacco. Yeah, this is the most popular one is this one. And you can also make like this. You go to the shop and tell them to not shop, like a small stall. They sell these kind of products. A variety is available with different names. I'm not using any names, just say smokeless tobacco. So sometimes it's homemade, and sometimes when we attend some wedding and all, people give as a mouth freshener. So people just, after your grand wedding feast, you can have one of them to freshen your mouth. That's how it starts. But one thing is that the tobacco chewing thing we can get from a very young age. So the addiction for tobacco chewing starts very young than the cigarette or BD. So the young at stage, and they have so many chemicals depending upon what you make. But our research showed that this is relatively not so dangerous. But if you go for this or other products, this shows more effect for the cancer and other things. So each thing, the yellow thing here, that's called arachnut, and the leaf is betel leaf. Both are carcinogen. And then the tobacco. So IARC has declared in 1985 that when arachnut and tobacco is together, it has a carcinogenic potential. But arachnut alone, there are still people who eat arachnut alone also. So next is the prevalence of tobacco use. So in India, we have the ritual aspect of tobacco use, especially in Hindu culture. When we have some auspicious day, we want to take the blessing of elder people like mother, father, or uncle, auntie. So we give them this kind of thing in a leaf, and then put all the tobacco things inside and give to them and ask them, please bless me. So it's almost impossible to take out from our culture, but still we can control eating it. You can just do it as a ritual, no need to eat it. So in India, we see the change in tobacco use prevalences. In this graph, you can see the blue line is this is the Global Adult Survey report. So tobacco surveys report, and in the blue line shows the results in 2009, and the green one is in 2016. That's the latest. So the all type of tobacco users, if you see from 35, it reduced to 29. For the tobacco smokers, 14 to 11. And no, not age, the percentage, yeah, percentage. And then for the smokeless tobacco users, it reduced from around 26 to 21. So there is, people started to understand somehow, maybe our work is good, so that people started to understand that we need to do something, or maybe reduce the use. It's working. But at the same survey found that rural women and rural men are more taking tobacco, not the urban women and urban men. This is also a new finding, that we need to work more on the rural area about the tobacco control programs. I don't know in Indonesia how is the pattern, but if this is, then you need to do more attention in the rural people, maybe, if it's the same. The next is about the public health impact of tobacco use. So as any other country, we also have 1 million adults die in India due to tobacco related problems. That's around 10% of our total population. And tobacco can cause many diseases, but I will talk today only about cancers, because our collaborative center in India is Regional Cancer Center. So their motto is to study more cancer than other non-communicable diseases. So Regional Cancer Center, our parent institute, with the collaboration of Health Research Foundation Japan, established a cohort called Karunagapalli cohort. It's a rural cancer registry cohort. And initially, when we made the cohort, the objective was to study radiation, because this area is coastal area, and coastal area has natural radiation. So we wanted to try to understand whether radiation can cause us cancer or not. But yeah, our publication shows that it doesn't cause any cancer. But we found that several tobacco, alcohol, the lifestyles can cause cancer. That's what we published in the papers, and I will talk about it today. So this is the location of the study area. So in the southwestern coastal region of India is the Kerala state. So you can see it's a small part here. This is our cohort. So this is the state. This state's capital is here. So our main center is here. So this is a huge hospital for cancer. So from here we try to open a new center here to establish a cohort, and we work on that part, because there is no radiation in this place. The radiation is here. So the next is about the prevalence of tobacco users in cohort. So you see the red one is India, and the green is Kerala, and black is Karunagapalli. When comparing to in case of smokers, you see the highest is in our cohort area. That's the rural part. So this is very, very strange. So what we did is we decided to establish a cohort, and as part of that, for the baseline survey, we visited 71,674 houses in this region, in this Karunagapalli region. So our trained staff, around 12 to 14 interviewers, they visited every houses and asked questions with a 6-page standardized questionnaire, which is validated. And then we asked the questions related to socio-demographic factors, tobacco habits, type of tobacco, and smoking, and the alcohol drinking habits. So that's about the baseline survey. So once the baseline survey is finished, we started to do the follow-up. So we are following up until today. So once the 1997, when the baseline is finished, so we started to analyze the cancer. And these data is initially we submitted it to the population-based cancer registry. It's like a network in India. It's supported by the government of India to make a group of registries for cancer, because we don't have, in India, we don't have an active registration system. So what is active registration system? That probably I heard from your faculty members that you kind of have an active registration system because you have insurance. But in India, we don't have health insurance. So if a cancer happens, it's just your problem. You don't have any data with the government. So you need to, so if you want to start a cohort, we had to actively check all the people and then retrieve their data. It's your problem. You have to do it by yourself because government doesn't have that kind of. But in case of Japan, if a positive case, a cancer positive cases come, it is automatically registered into the national registry. So it's easy for them. But for us, it's a lot of work because we have to go to one by one house and check who has cancer, what kind of cancer, and sometimes they don't know. So we have to go back and check in their hospital records. So it's a tedious work. So that's how we identify the cancer cases. So this is more accurate way to explain it because how we do the identification of cancer. So every month, our registry staff, cancer registry staff, they visit our parent institute, that is Regional Cancer Center, and around 50% of the cases go to that place because this is a government cancer center and it's kind of free or very cheap, the treatment is, but it's super crowded. But of course, because it's free, many people end up in Regional Cancer Center. But rich people will not go there, so that's another thing. We need to find another way. So we also monthly check in the follow-up care clinics and palliative care clinics. Sometimes we don't know, the patients just end up in palliative care because they are already so advanced. And then our interviewers also go to the field visit, house visits in the cohort area and try to identify which are the cases. Then on a yearly basis, once a year, all the hospitals in this whole state, the whole Kerala state, people go and try to check the address and then find out we have the people from the same region or not. And pathological laboratories, sometimes people get the report from pathology lab because we can do by ourselves. So we go to pathology lab and say, okay, can you check it? And they check it and we get the report, but they don't go to any doctor sometimes. So we may miss a cancer incident case. So that's why we check in the pathology labs. Usually they are private pathology labs. And then the medical practitioners and also to the vital statistics division department, because people in India try to get the death certificate. So we can understand by just checking the vital statistics department. And twice a year, we also conduct cancer screening camps all over our cohort. So these are the hard work to identify cancer case in a maybe underdeveloped system, health system, public health system. But countries like Japan, it's so easy. The doctor will, their team itself, they will put in the internet, their website, and we don't need to do anything. Just one click, we can have the data. So for the analysis, because now I am presenting the tobacco related, so we excluded the people who are less than 18 years and older than 85 years. And we also had to exclude the occupational workers, and the subjects died or have been diagnosed as cancer before the baseline survey, and subjects who died within 3 years after the interview were also excluded from the results, which I will present soon. So the main idea was that we try to find out like we asked the questions like how many BD or cigarette do you smoke in a day, or how many times do you chew tobacco, or how many times you drink alcohol. So if you drink, how much ml, or what is the quantity, what type of alcohol, and how long have you been doing all these habits, and when did you start. And if someone say, oh, I quit, then ask, okay, when did you quit? And then after that, we also ask the question like some people smoke and drink. So smoking time, how much do you drink, or drinking time, how much do you smoke, or what kind of preferences. So we made a detailed questions like this. So in total, we had around 400,000 subjects in the cohort. So this is a huge cohort. So for this analysis, the age is 30 to 84. Around 70,000 men we pick up for the data analysis, because as you see here, so these are the most prevalent cancer incidences in the cohort. So maybe you can see the lungs, it's quite high for, this is for men. So this is quite high. Mouth, hypopharynx is small, so larynx, stomach and esophagus, these are very high in the cohort. But we don't know, is it because of tobacco or some other reason? We have other cancers also, but the number per person per 100,000 is very small number, so we couldn't yet analyze the data. Maybe after 10 years or 20 years we may. So if you like to see the data, the raw data, you can find it in the cancer incidence in 5 continents. We have submitted every 5 years to this IARC's cancer incidence data bank. So once we finished the baseline, we started to follow up. We waited for some time. Then we realized that it's time to do the analysis. And what we found was all these cancers, which I showed before, are related to tobacco or alcohol, or tobacco and alcohol, both cases. So our this is the first cohort in Asia or even South Asia to show the significant association between these kind of things. So I want to explain every one papers. So the first paper we published in 2018 about BD smoking and lung cancer among males in Karnagapalli cohort area. So the risk among the current BD smokers was significantly higher. Maybe actually if I show you this, maybe it's so crowded. So I just stick on to this. So the current BD smokers have very high significant risk for lung cancer. Even after they stopped for 10 years, they were still on the risk. So the BD effect is not reduced even after 10 years of quitting. In further analysis, we checked the never smoked cigarette to examine the effect of BD smoking alone, and found that that is much higher than just the current BD smokers. And the lung cancer incidence also increased with larger amount of BD smoked a day, sometimes 20 cigarette or 25 BD or 25 BD per day, or longer duration of BD smoking, or younger age starting. Sometimes they start even in high school. So the younger age at start is very important for lung cancer. So because this was our first paper, we just suggested like immediate measures should be taken to stop BD smoking. So this is the same results I told before. So the next paper was about oral cancer risk in relation to tobacco chewing and BD smoking among men. Again, men. Tobacco chewing increased the oral risk. I think oral cancer risk, everyone knows that oral cancer risk is increased by tobacco chewing. But what we found is the risk of cancer of the gum, mouth, has increased significantly. And it increased with high daily frequency, longer duration, etc. And in this study, we found that alcohol drinking was not significantly related to oral cancer risk, regardless of the tobacco chewing. And then BD smoking also significantly increased oral cancer. So people usually had the notion that mouth cancer is just tobacco chewing, but BD smoking also causes that. And the risk increased with high daily consumption, longer duration, and younger age at start. So even in the location-specific analysis, we found that BD was significantly associated with cancer of the gum and mouth, and the risk increased with larger daily consumption of BD and younger age at start. The tongue cancer was significantly increased among men who smoke BD for more than 30 years. And that's a common thing. If they start in high school, It's a common thing for many people to reach 30 years, or the men started BD smoking at 18 years old or younger. So the next paper, this is the only female study we have published about tobacco, because our people, we don't smoke, but we chew tobacco. So that's the reason we couldn't, maybe the incidence was also lower for other cancer, it is because of that. So this paper is published in 2009. So the oral cancer was strongly related to daily frequency of tobacco chewing, and increased 9.2-fold among women chewing tobacco 10 times or more a day. The risk increased with the duration of tobacco chewing during the first 20 years of tobacco chewing. That means most of the cancer cases are very young age, because they usually start very younger age. So this is the first cohort study to show oral cancer in relation to tobacco chewing among women. The next paper in 2013 is the association of tobacco use and alcohol drinking with laryngeal and hypopharyngeal cancer risk. Why we had to club this? Because larynx and hypopharynx we have to put together because of there are not so many cases, so we put together for the analysis. So So this study showed that incidence rate of cancers of the hypopharynx and larynx were strongly related to number of BD smoked a day and duration of BD smoking. Laryngeal cancer risk was significantly increased by BD smoking, cigarette smoking, and regular alcohol use. But for hypopharynx, we did not find that association with alcohol, but only for cigarette. So the conclusion that what we found is a dose-response relationship between these hypopharynx and laryngeal cancer risk and BD smoking. Larger amount of BD smoked a day and longer duration of BD smoking increase the incidence rate of those cancers. So this paper, gastric cancer risk in relation to tobacco use, is published in 2015. So many people may not think that, the BD or cigarette can cause, at least the normal people, you all may think, but the normal people, they have no idea it can cause gastric cancer. So the BD smoking was associated with gastric cancer risk, and the relative risk was quite high, and GC risk was associated with the number of BD smoked a day and the duration of BD smoking. And those who started BD smoking at a younger age were elevated gastric cancer risk. And even among the cigarette smokers, it increased, but BD was much more. So cigarette smoking, tobacco chewing, or alcohol drinking was not significantly associated with gastric cancer risk. So, but when we publish this kind of people think that, okay, they did not find cigarette smoking as a problem. So maybe gastric cancer is not caused by cigarette smoking. So it's okay to smoke cigarette, not BD, but that's not the thing. So this is the paper published in last year, esophageal cancer in relation to alcohol drinking and tobacco use among men in India. So this is again a paper in man, and we showed that alcohol drinking significantly increased the risk of esophageal cancer, and that is more significant in heavy alcohol drinkers or among current arak drinkers. Do you know arak? Yeah, okay, so you have to. Okay, so among the arak drinkers, it was so common. We have other type of alcohol. If someone is interested, you can check this paper. There are different types of alcohol, but this was the more dangerous one. Current BD and cigarette smokers showed an increase in the trend of cancer risk. A significantly higher risk was seen in those who started smoking BD before the age of 18 years. So that's the main result part. In general, all these cancer which I told now are related to tobacco use or alcohol. So next is about the tobacco control. I also want to talk about the tobacco control done by India government as such. So, but the population is like 1.4 billion. It's a lot of people, so it's a little bit difficult. We have different languages, so it's a bit difficult to control the tobacco control in all of India. So this Kerala is 35 million people, And I mentioned that in our cohort it's less than 400,000 people. So maybe to work in cohort area is better because we can target 400,000 people. So our center tried to control the tobacco movements. Anti-tobacco movements, not tobacco movements, sorry. So this is the Tobacco Control India initiatives. Tobacco control become the part of non-communicable disease control program in 2010. And in 2001, the Supreme Court has declared smoking in public places is a punishable offense. And in the same year, they made a national tobacco control cell, and they made a law separate for the government for the tobacco-related things. That is called COPTA. So COPTA is a bit different kind of law, and it can control actually. So if someone smoke in a public place, anyone can call the police and tell. So that's why people, they don't want to mess up. They don't want to smoke in public places. So, and in 2009, the last point, the 2009, we also made the pictorial warnings on the cigarette packs, yeah. So the advantages of this law was that we could prohibit the smoking in public places, and the advertisements of the tobacco company, sponsorship, promotion of the tobacco products, all were cancelled, and prohibition of sale of products to the minor. So when I was young, I could go and get a cigarette from the shop, but now it's not possible. The shopkeeper will be in trouble, so he cannot give the cigarette or bidi to small children. Prohibition of sale products near educational institution. That's usually 300 or 400 meter around the schools. We can't sell any more tobacco products. Regulation of health warning on tobacco products pack. These were the best things of the first law made by India government. So it was easy for each state to make their own policy in addition to what they have. So again, the Kerala state, there is one difference actually, because like Jember, we don't have any tobacco growing people in my state, in Kerala. There is no farmers. So it is easy for us to control more. You understand that, right? So Kerala is the first state to declare as tobacco advertisement free. So when you go out to a shop, you can't understand which shop will sell you tobacco, because there is no billboard saying tobacco is sold. So it's a bit difficult for people who come to the city new. Where can I find cigarette, or where can I find cigarette, bidi? And you go and sometimes ask, that may be a police person by mistake. That's kind of, police will kind of disguise and stay near the schools or shops to understand if some people come and ask for tobacco products. So the state has also banned the manufacture, storage, distribution and sale of tobacco chewing, and the products which contain tobacco and nicotine. These are all done in 2015. And the sale of e-cigarette is banned in the state. I saw so many people in Jember. Indonesia has e-cigarette, the vape cigarette. We don't sell it in, and it's not so common yet. So if a person want to have a e-cigarette, they have to travel to another place in India to buy the cigarette. Using is not banned, but selling is banned. So we have tobacco cessation centers with pharmacological treatment facilities in all the districts. And in collaboration with the Parent Teacher Association, PTA, of the school, they make this kind of yellow line. So you can see here, this is 100 meter, the radius of the school. The 100 meter around the school, the PTA buy this kind of yellow paint and put around the school. So inside this perimeter, if someone buys or sells cigarette, they can be punished with the COPTA law. And many local people help to find who sells, if they sell inside this yellow region. So our center started the tobacco control movement in 1980. This is our center. So 1985. So the initial thing what we did is 1985 to 2012 is that we have conducted anti-tobacco awareness programs around 862 times with participants like religious leaders, because religious leaders can make the people change their mind, NGOs, student volunteers, community volunteers, administrators, policy makers, police, political leaders, media personnel, student teachers, scouts, and then factory, bank office, hotel staff, lay public, and the volunteers working in the remote areas. So around roughly 500,000 people joined this program in our institute. And we also do formal training to the children. So most probably when the parents say or friends say don't smoke, maybe they don't listen to you too much. But when like for example, a community oncology doctor comes and tell you, okay, you may get a cancer, the children, especially in the high school, these classes are given to the high school children and tell them why tobacco is bad, and then make them take the oath that they don't smoke when they become big, or they don't smoke at all. So this kind of formal training is given by our team members. And this is another kind of exhibition we conduct in the schools all around our state, that very scary pictures of oral cancer. You can see here. It's not so clear, but still they show this kind of pictures. They take this, go around the school and keep the exhibitions so that the children come and learn, and the volunteers explain them. And even in the first picture, if you see here, you can see in the boxes some of the organs in the formalin boxes. So the kids can understand how a normal lung or another organ look with and without tobacco effect. So they tend to understand the effect more. So the next is about the press release of the study. This is the same paper I showed before, the gastric cancer risk in relation to tobacco use and alcohol drinking. So when we publish these kind of papers, it says gastric cancer risk in relation to tobacco use and alcohol drinking in Kerala. But most of the people, they don't understand or they don't read, because this is a scientific paper. So this is not good enough. So what we do is that the authors sit in front of the media persons and do press release. And we highlight, even though the title here is gastric cancer in relation to tobacco use and alcohol drinking, but here the title is BD causes gastric cancer. And the Regional Cancer Center study finds that, because this is the biggest cancer center in our state and it's run by government, people believe it more than anything. And in the first paragraph, actually it is too small to see, but it's written that you didn't know about, you know oral cancer cause, lung cancer cause, but you didn't know about the gastric cancer. So this is the one of the way to do the press release. So it will come in the next day newspaper, all kind of newspapers, and some people who are more interested in making feature, they will come to the authors to ask for special interview to show in the TV. So the interview will be shown, this as such will be shown in the TV. So it's a new information for the people that BD causes gastric cancer. So this kind of informal education, this is also one of the way we make several newspaper approach to know people. Something is going on. If somebody wants, they can come for anti-tobacco movement or to stop their smoking. And these kind of pamphlets are made. I think you already know these kind of things. So the next is a very interesting program. This is done in 2003 to 2004. It's a magic show for tobacco awareness in the tribal area. We have so tribal area. So a magician is trained to convey the anti-tobacco message. So he has a bus. You can see the bus. Bus is converted to a stage. So in the form of magic, he tried to explain the children, small children especially, less than high school, that what happens. And that covered around 50 schools in the tribal area. I think that's all of the tribal area. There are only 50 schools. And more than 25,000 students watched this program. So from 1989 onwards, we also do the World Tobacco Day, and the person who hold the flag is a tobacco survivor. And you can see the center's doctors and the student guides, scouts together. So this is another program which the Kerala state got World No Tobacco Award from WHO in 2003. Do you have scouts? You have scouts. Oh, okay. So what we do is we have 33 educational institutions in the Kerala state. So we call these people to our center, all the scout master and the guide captains. We have guides also. So scout captains and guide masters and guide captains. And we train them why we need to do the anti-tobacco movements. And then they go back to their schools and they have to give a lecture, what they understood. They have to teach in front of their friends. And then these students, they go around the neighborhood and motivate people to quit the habit. But I don't know how much it is effective, but around 100,000 homes they declared as tobacco free. So this was reported in the World Cancer in 2003. Another program we do in the center is VOTV, the Voice of Tobacco Victims. So this is I think a unique campaign where we hear the voice of the tobacco victims. So you can see in the picture. So these are patients, tobacco survivors, means they had cancer because of tobacco and they are survivors. So they come and try to talk what are the difficulty when they got the cancer, or if they wanted to change, why did I start when I was small in school, why did I start tobacco? So they ask the government, please don't make it available for the children. Because it was available for us, we took it and we tried, and now we have cancer. It's your problem. Why didn't you stop getting to us, these kind of things? So this is their voice. And the doctors which they are treated are the patrons of this program. And their motto is a tobacco-free Kerala. So the outcome of this VOTV program is that we banned selling of tobacco products 400 meters of educational institution. In 2011, this the only state in India who could make that kind of law was Kerala. The next is about the community involvement. So we ask the people who want to voluntarily involve in community ceasing. So for example, in some places they sell chewing tobacco illegally. So we ask the parents or anyone who is interested to make a group, and this is masala is it's okay. Pan masala is the tobacco chewing. The name in Indian language is called pan masala. So they seize it and they burn it so that it cannot reach to the people. But it happens many times, even then it will come back. But still, community involvement is very important in the tobacco control movement. The next is about the community intervention trial we try to do in the cohort area. So this is, we first go to a region and distribute the information, education, communication materials on the tobacco hazards. Then after that, we ask the participants to be part of the smoking cessation campaign, then conduct medical camps for cancer screening, and after that, do individual counseling through multiple approaches such as face-to-face interview and telephone counseling. So there are not so many studies done like this, but we targeted the age group of 18 to 60 years who are currently daily smokers for this study. So this is the result that overall prevalence of smoking abstinence was 14.7% in the intervention and 6.8% in the control group. So which shows that rigorous approaches for smoking cessation program can enhance the quitting of smoking even in the rural areas. So they don't have much information. That's why they don't need to think of quitting the cigarette or BD. So if you try to reach to such people and tell them, they may think of it, or maybe they reduce the quantity they use per day. So this is a program for among females especially. So we, in the cohort area, the men are usually fishermen. Their wives, they work in industry. One is the seafood processing industry or cashew nut industry. So they work in the industry. So our cohort management, they go there and try to explain them what are the initial signs of cancer. So why it's important for especially female related cancers, breast cancer or other cancers, and then we try to teach them in simple language because they are not so educated people, laymen they are. So we try to explain them in local language why we need to check, and we are going to give you free checkup. So why don't you come and then try to find out? If you find out early, it can be 100% cured or at least 90% cure. But if it's late, we can't do anything. So what we learned is that the proactive tobacco cessation activities found to be very successful in our people. Multiple approaches can enhance the tobacco quit rates. Tobacco cessation program under the non-communicable disease prevention further should be more evaluated. And we also planning in cohort area, we have a free screening program, but whole state we want to do a free community-based screening. That's not yet to be done. And then tobacco cessation counseling will be given in the screening program. So that's about the control thing. The next is about the passive smoking or smoke. Our name, what we coined is smoke-free homes. So even in Kerala, we still have around 42% adults are exposed to passive smoking. In public exposure, it is very less, but at home there are. So, and that means when men smoke, women and children are exposed to smoke. So one of our motto is to make smoke-free homes, to protect the women and children. So what we can do for it, because family people have to think. So we made an intervention program to make these smoke-free homes. So first the local self-government were alerted. We need to do so. This guy here, he's like a village head or something. So he was being alerted, and after that we tried to teach them in every level. And then health education camps were done in the communities and the schools to declare something called no smoking inside homes. So you can see children in this picture, children and women more. There is no men, right? So they come here. So we targeted them so that females can make huge changes in tobacco movement. That's what we understood. So this lady here, she's putting some sticker on outside her home. So that says that my home is smoke free. So you can't smoke inside my home. Even if it's my husband, you have to go out and smoke, not inside the house. So the women encouraged to vote against the second-hand smoke in their house. This was a very promising anti-smoking strategy we did in Kerala. Then next is about reaching to the political leaders. So these people who are standing here in the line are our ministers, the political people. So they are taking the oath that we don't smoke. So they can't smoke in public. So if they want to smoke, they have to go to their home or some private space to smoke. So in that way, the followers also can't smoke in public. And then we also asked the help of voluntary health service group to make mandatory stickers on the public transport. And then it's not just that we can do or achieve everything through voluntary services, because they don't have much power. So it's also important to institutionalize the process. So we go to the government level and try to make it a law. So the Public Health Service Department, not just our center or the state as such, the Public Health Service Department also part of the tobacco control program. So they do press conferences, they train the medical officers and the health supervisors, and they do a lot of activities. And what was the results? So you see here, in India, in 2009, they made this kind of pictures of the cancers, different kind of cancers on the cigarette packets. I saw in Indonesia also you have this kind of pictures. So what we found is that, you see here, this red one is before we made these pictures, and this blue one is after we made the pictures. So the BD smoking, before it was around 54%, but after the picture came, it reduced to 30%. And that's for cigarette. Initially it was 62%, it became 38%. So this is the global adult tobacco survey finding. So you can see this result in the online of the Indian profile. So again, this is a place where illegally tobacco is sold. So the police, the women in khaki uniform, they are police. They go there and try to seize the thing and find the owner of the shop. So in fact, we decided to make so many no tobacco zones. Actually, that worked a lot because most of the places are now no tobacco zones. So like universities are no tobacco zones, that kind of thing we did. So it worked. So these kind of no tobacco zones boards are kept in many places. Again, here, this is a public ferry. So the police is typing on it. It's a rule that you can't smoke. If you smoke here, you will be punished. So the next is, this one is a movie poster. So he's a very famous hero in my place. You can see him, he has cigarette. But for you people, this may not be a new thing, because I see so many advertisement of tobacco in Indonesia. But in India, if you do this, even she has a cigarette, he has a cigar. But these film stars, they had to go to the court because they were under scrutiny. In movies, you can show you are smoking, but you can't put in the poster because posters children watch on the road. And if he is because he is very good in making stunts and fights. I think all boys think he is like superhuman. And if he shows cigar, they think, okay, we also should use cigar. So it's better not to show. So what happens is that the health officials, they seize the poster and put for legal action. So now you can't find any posters with cigarette or cigars on the walls of our state. So next is the student police cadets. So this is also kind of scouts. So their job is to do the tobacco-free educational district. So they go around and try to find. So these children in a yearly basis, they go around on a rally like this. They are trying to find in their locality whether there is anything related to tobacco or not. I think they are better in identifying things than we are, because these children found the billboard. Can you see here? It's written Scissor. Scissor is a brand name of cigarette. But if you see just this board, you can't understand it's a cigarette. It's just, we think it's the name of this shop, but it's not, it's a cigarette. So the children identified it and they waited until the man took out the billboard. So the student polices are very good. They can identify many things than we do. And then in 2014, our capital city was tobacco advertisement free. This is the biggest challenge we had. And then comes another thing. This is one of the Indian company called Wheels. So as I said, when the government said put these kind of pictures, they put, and they also wrote passive smoking affects fetus and lead growth and retardation. But they can't do any advertisement. So they come up with a new idea. The Wheels company started a dress shop, lifestyle. So they cannot advertise for this, but they can do advertisement for this. So the people always hear wheels, 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 wheels. You can't forget it. And that's the same for alcohol company McDowell's. So they banned the advertisement of alcohol, and what happened? They came up with mineral water. So the same logo they use for mineral water, instead of showing the alcohol, I think it's whiskey. So instead of selling whiskey, they said we have water. But again, the name remain in everyone's head. So these kind of challenges always happens, but we still have to way forward, monitor tobacco consumption patterns. There are new patterns emerging in youngsters, and we need to still strengthen the legislature and conduct more anti-tobacco movements in the school and rural areas. Yeah, that's all about my talk. I also would like to hear something about anti-tobacco measures in your country, or what do you think the gaps in the Indonesian tobacco control program? Thank you.
Applause for Atira. Thank you, Atira. Wow. After listening
lot.
to you, yeah, no, I mean, I kind of figure out that we have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
When I reach here, I also realized that there's so many things to do. Yeah.
Okay. So, is there any questions from the audience? Mbak Fetri kalau mau tanya juga nggak apa-apa. Yeah. Is there any question? Any comments? Atira wants to know about our tobacco control program. Honestly, I have no idea. Do you have tobacco control? Yeah. Dr. Rita.
Tes. Tes, tes. Tes. Okay. Yes. Thank you. Okay. For the opportunity. I would like to comment first on your last slide about our about the community and the tobacco control. Oh, I'm sorry. It's so rude of me. You know me, but maybe the others here don't know. So let me introduce myself. I'm Dita Aryadina from the Public Health Department. And as I said before, I would like to comment on your last slide about the community program. Not the community program. The regulations that we already have in Indonesia. We already actually have a regulation in 2009. I googled it about the tobacco use. For smoking in public areas. So there is actually already a fine of 6 months in jail or 50 million rupiahs for those who smoke in public areas. But in my observation, it's not effective because it's either there are too many people smoking in public spaces, and for us who don't smoke, who are actually what do you call it? Disturbed by people smoking. At first, we don't know how to implement that rule. I mean, is it just, I see you smoking, I report you, and then they get a fine? I don't think it works like that. And it's even harder when people are ignorant. So when they smoke, sometimes, for example, a few days ago, I was eating in a public space, and there are people who smoked in that public area. And maybe I'm the type of person who can, report directly. So I just give a small gesture that I'm not fine with the smoking. It's either I put my hand like this or I try to fake coughing, but they don't realize that it's annoying or it's disturbing. And I think that's one. If you asked about the gap, I think it's also ignorance that makes this harder to be achieved. I mean, the goal is good. The means and all your pictures of campaigns. I mean, if that really worked, it would be great. But I think in Indonesia, it's a little bit harder. And then I have one question that is a little bit more in a technical, technical area about the cohort study itself. As you can see, there are students here. Maybe some of them have been undergoing their thesis or not, but I'm sure most of them don't have what do you call it? They would not want to do a cohort thesis because they would have to follow up the subjects. But listening to your research, and you gathered 400,000 subjects. I think my technical question is, what are the most biggest challenge or difficulties that you found when conducting a cohort study? Because I'm sure the 400,000 people did not come in one single moment. I mean, how did you, how were you able to gather that much subjects, and were there any other challenges that you faced? Thank you. That's my question.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Dwita, for the questions. To say some point about your first, the Indonesian system, this doesn't work. We were in the same shoes 30 years ago because we are producing a lot of tobacco. So it's not so easy. But when the government makes so strong law, the police are obliged. They have no option. They have to follow it. And then even if I, like you said, you do this, but I will not do that. I will call police. So especially in the cinema houses or restaurants, if someone spoke next to me, I will better not talk to that person, straight away call police than doing that. Because those kind of police will be everywhere, especially in the city area. It's so common to find many places those kind of people will be there, because the government make that kind of squad to prevent smoking in public places where children and kids come, children and women come, or just people who doesn't smoke come. So that kind of thing should be, that is a part of government. You guys have to pressurize government to make more strong law only for that kind of thing. Just making a law doesn't work, and you need to follow it up, and that's a huge work. I know how you feel it, because we were same place some decades ago, so I know. And the second point is about the cohort. Yeah, I was not part of the baseline survey because this started in 1990. So yeah, because our initial cohort started in 1985, but then after that, so I was like 1 year old at that time. Oh, no, I was not born. I was born in 86, so I was not born. So I was not part of baseline survey. So I have been part of this research for 14 years, but I know, yes, we have lost follow-up cases a lot. So when we did because this is in the 1990s, people were not moving so much. So they used to work in one area, or they go to just next place and work. So still their family leave, or we can track them, each members. It was not so difficult. But right now, yes, it is a big challenge, because people move for job from one place to another. And in your case, I heard from island to island. That's more difficult. But in our case, they don't move so much, especially this rural area, because the people are fishermen. So they go for fishing and come back. So it was much easier to track down the people. But still, we lost 0.7% migration. But anyway, even then, it's not a big number, because when we think about 400,000 people, 0.7% lost is okay. We still can follow up other people. So yeah, it's a big challenge. We need to call them by phone. They may change the phone number, and then we have to go to their houses and ask, what's the new phone number? Or, we need to frequently visit. That's the biggest challenge we have in India. Following up is a little bit difficult, especially after Corona. They don't even allow us to go to their houses. They kind of change their attitude towards us. So it's a bit challenging, but still, because every country is unique, every people is unique, unless until you try for a small, we did not make this cohort of 400,000 people in a day or something, as you said. Yeah, we started as small cohort, and then we extended it, cohort 1, cohort 2, sub cohort, like that. We added up, and it became a big cohort like that. So the main part is following up. So we follow until now. So yeah, that's right. Thank you for that question.
Okay. So is there still any hope for these youngsters to
Yeah,
start those mini cohort, and then they have alibi my cohort stops here and I have my juniors to do? Is it possible?
Actually, that is not student responsibility because
yeah.
student may have a different specialization, they may go. But what you can do as staff is that you can make the preparation and start a cohort for students so that students can work time to time. Like I become the part of the cohort. I was not, my specialization is not cohort study. I'm a microbiologist. So when I joined Kagoshima University, this cohort study exists there. So I like to do the analysis, so I just be part of it. I was forced to be part of it. So now 14 years, I was just analyzing the data or do some small cross-sectional studies in the cohort. So I'm not a part of baseline. So the thing is that some of you have to think and then make a cohort for them so they can work time to time. But of course you can use their manpower because students, they are trained. You know, we had to pay to get the trained questioner, but because they are medical students, they already know and they know the language, so it's easy for them to make the data without error. That's also important. So I think it's in your side.
Got it, yeah. Is there any questions? Yeah. Oh, Dave, you're here. What are you doing here? You're not supposed to be here. What are you doing?
Good morning. Thank you for the time. I'm Dave, as the second-year clinical student. I have like 2 or 3 questions and also the opinion regarding Indonesia tobacco control. First of all, I would like to express my gratitude and welcome to Jember University. I love your last part of presentation regarding it's totally enlightening and refreshing, especially when it comes to how do we fight the tobacco. Okay, my question will be about, is there any research or data related to the changes of people behavior which affected by government regulation? Because we know any kind of regulation will affect the way people act. So whenever, for example, in 2001, if I'm not mistaken, there is a government regulation that banning the public tobacco use. Maybe it will. I have some hypothesis that it will affect the way people change, the way people behavior. For example, the people who usually spend more hours in public places will decrease the use of tobacco. But when it comes to the people that usually use the tobacco in private place, they will just remain use the tobacco. So is there any kind of research regarding the regulation and its outcome? If it's not established yet, what kind of measurement that we can do in the future to assess globally and specifically based on every intervention that we will do to tobacco control? And because what I believe is that we can just do anything scattered or just do something specifically with effective measurement. Last, it's regarding the Indonesia tobacco control and tobacco situation. In Indonesia, tobacco is totally connected with the economical of Indonesia. So there is maybe two or three company which supports a lot of tax income to Indonesia. How this is different with India or any kind of state that you do the cohort? Is there any relation regarding the economical to the study? Thank you.
Thank you so much for the lot of questions. I don't remember all the questions, but to begin, thank you for the interest in, when you see this, you feel like you want to do something. That's the first step. As medical students, if you can start something, it's very, very important, I think. For the tobacco control, as you said, the behavior, actually the Global Adult Tobacco Survey, GATS. So this is a GATS survey done by WHO. Every 5 year, I think, they publish the data. 5 year or 10 year, they publish the data. Actually, it's the government has to submit the data to WHO. That's the way. But I don't know for Indonesia you submit or not. But for India, we have to submit it every 10 years. Most of the country, you can just Google the data in the GATS survey. depending upon each country's name, you can find what kind of activities are done and how much it reduced, what kind of change. I already showed one graph which shows after the pictogram was put, how much it was reduced. So yeah, there are so many. And then small community activities, again, I showed another study we done in our center which shows that the tobacco, those who wanted to quit tobacco, that kind of really affected them even in the rural areas. So I think that kind of study, small intervention studies in a group will be good. Another thing what you said is 3 companies in Indonesia contribute a lot of tax to the government. Honestly, I don't know which are the Indian companies and how much is their tax, because we don't see such news or we don't see the billboards, so we don't know anything how much is their burden on Indian government or how much is the money comes to Indian government. We don't have scholarship funded by tobacco companies. We don't have any programs organized by tobacco companies, and we as the university staff, we can't receive any money from tobacco companies for anything. So it is, even when you said, I was surprised. Why? I don't know. I never thought of it because it's not in the news anywhere. So that's also a way to companies' dominance. They try to put in your brain whether you are a smoker or not, but you think tobacco companies are very important for the economy. They are important for the economy, but we need to find regulations to do it. Did I answer all his
Okay.
questions?
In addition, I just want to say that it's same with our faculty. Our faculty ban any kind of connections or tobacco foundation program. But we know that in Indonesia there is some of a scholarship that is funded by the tobacco industry. I think that's all.
Yeah, I
Maybe
heard
that-
about that actually.
Yeah.
I felt surprised because I think all over the world, the countries which signed the tobacco control movements with WHO, they are not allowed to take that kind of scholarship or funding for any programs from the tobacco control. Even after you write the paper, when you submit to the journal, if it is a tobacco paper, they usually ask, is this study funded by tobacco company? If you say yes, they will reject immediately the paper. So it's not a good thing internationally, but Indonesia is kind of exception. So you need to, I didn't know that until I come here.
Yeah, we have to dig deeper for that matter. It's
You
not
need to
as
work hard.
simple as it shows. And as you said before, we need a lot of effort together with the law enforcement, the political
Exactly.
stuff.
Exactly.
It's a big thing, Dave. Thanks for bringing it
But
up.
you can be the stepping stone.
Yeah, you can be the stepping stone. You become the stepping stone. I'm gonna step on the stone.
Thank you.
I
Thank
don't
you.
wanna be
Amen for this. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm a mini lecture. Okay, is there any more questions? Yeah, please.
Thank you. I'm Dwi Martiana from Public Health Faculty of Jember University. I just have one question for you, and then I thought before that you get involved on this work from the beginning, but at the end, yeah, I don't know. Maybe my question is still relate or not, but I still try to ask you what's the biggest challenge you had, and including your team during your work from the beginning until you and your team made some public policies that it's mind-blowing for us here, as Ms. Dwita asked to you before, because there's biggest challenge. I mean, biggest challenge for our here, for our government here, to have tobacco use limitation. So, what's your biggest challenge? Your team, you had on your team during your work until you made some policies regarding tobacco use limitation, involving many parties,
You mean-
religious leaders, government. So, what's your biggest challenge during your work then?
To appeal to the government.
Yeah,
yeah.
and
So that
involving many parties.
Yeah,
as
you know, the main thing
Thank
was
you.
like we have the information of, yeah, thank you for the question. We have the main information like all over the world, cigarette causes so many things. So cigarette may have some kind of ban, it can come if government wants to. But our concern was more about BD. BD doesn't come under anything. So we wanted to make so much of data to show them. That's why we made all these publications to show in 300,000 or 400,000 people, we have a problem, and that's the problem for whole country. So every government will be pushed if you do more research and try to show them that it's causing problems to them. So that's why cohort studies are so important to show with big data set. So if you do small study, that maybe government will not be moved so much, but you mean to do? Our main problem was not with the government. For us, funding was the difficult part because we started our research as part of radiation because this area in Kerala, we have high radiation. So the WHO has asked India government to start some study in this region to know whether the radiation causes cancer. So we had an initial backup to start the funding. So the Regional Cancer Center, our parent institute, started it with very nicely with 100 plus staff, and we tried to extract the data. But after some time, we don't have funding. And then, of course, we have the influence of political people. They come and try to do something. Yeah, that kind of problems we experienced. But main thing is funding. But we tried to find many collaborators. That's how Health Research Foundation of Japan joined in very later, not during the baseline survey. Baseline survey was done by Indian government, supported by IARC and Indian Medical Association and other groups. Completely Indian money it was, but later on we had to get funding from other institutes to do the follow-up because we don't have the active registration. Because we need to go and check every month or every alternative month to hospitals and collect the data of who has become new positive cancer case. That's the biggest challenge for 400,000 people. Yeah, I think in big cities it will be more challenging because you will have more cancer detection centers. So you have to go to every, but in your case you have insurance, so people will have the medical record in the insurance company. So maybe you can get, so it's much, a little less burden than what we go through.
It'll help, but it's not really helpful.
Really?
Yeah, because the one that's inside the data system, the insurance thing, I don't think it's really projecting what really happens in the society. As you said, in your country, the rural area get less attention, and so did we. That's why one of our goal with this Agromedis stuff thing is we jumping to those societies and try to collect data as much as possible because they tend to retreat themselves.
You
They
have a
tends to-
big manpower.
yeah.
You have a lot of students because
Yeah.
our research institute is mostly research
Yeah.
related to cancer and then treatment. It's like a tertiary care center for cancer and palliative care. So we don't have much students or super specialty students. After the radiology specialization or oncology specialization, they are come, but they are very few. Maybe in a year, 1 or 2 doctors will come or the students will come. It's not more than even 100, the students in total. So we can't ask students to do such things, but in your case, you have that kind of manpower.
Yeah.
Manpower is where you need a lot of money.
Dave, don't pretend you don't see these wave hands. It's towarding to you. Manpower. We have to use them in a good way.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
good for them also,
Yeah.
and it's good for the country.
Don't pretend you guys don't listen to this. I know they're listening. Okay, got it. Is it already answered? Yeah, it's the funding stuff.
Yeah, thank you.
But thank God the government also helped half of the way, and then the Japan.
Yeah,
came
when I
along.
came to Indonesia, I realized that Indian government is better in thinking about people's health. Because in these 10 days I am in Indonesia, I am exposed to more passive smoking my entire life. I cannot see everywhere smoking, everywhere smoking,
Are you
everywhere
sure?
smoking.
in your entire life. Okay, we're gonna erase that from your memory before you go back to Japan. My gosh. Okay, is there any more questions? No questions. Yeah, Dr. Septa.
Thank you, Dr. Laxmi. I am Septa.
I know you.
Okay. I have two questions for Professor Atira. The first question is about the difficult thing that's to make a cohort on another study. I think is the first start. How to start? This is the difficult things. So I want to know, is any tips or trick from you how to start? That you know our manpowering that you say, and our. It's my first question. My second question is, I want to know that is any test in bulk or biomolecular blood on a biomolecular test to proven that any carcinogenic agent in our blood it's induced from tobacco. It's any real test? It's about that.
Yeah, actually,
Thank you.
Thank you for the question. For the second question, yeah, there are so many molecular studies, like epidemiology studies. There are a lot which shows different, each and every component of the association between some of the genes, especially the oncogenes. There are so many publications out there. But of course we can also study, because every tobacco is different, every people is different. So for Indonesia, in our cohort we haven't done any of those, because it's a bit difficult to do study for 300,000 people, to take the blood and check everyone, or at least the eligible men, around 70,000 people. So it's a lot of work to do. So we have no financial setup to do, and I think it is not necessary to do also for 70,000 people, because IARC has already classified BD or other tobacco products as the carcinogen. So when they put the classification, already enough scientific background is there. So for them to make a decision, this particular thing is a carcinogen, they have to do animal experiment, normal experiment, human evidence. So there are 4 or 5 criteria. If this product pass these 4 criteria, then it become a carcinogen. So that's why sometimes, like vape probably is not yet a carcinogen, because still studies are going on. So when enough studies publish out, and the team in the IARC, they check it, okay, there are enough evidence from all the like animal experiments or the human studies, then they make it as carcinogen. So yeah, to answer your question, yes, there are so many studies. And what was the first question? Shall I? How to start the cohort? Yeah, the thing is that, because in your case, for example, if you want to, our motto was to study radiation, effect of radiation on the people. So the final end point was cancer. So that's our cohort. So the once a person we follow up has a cancer, that person is out of the cohort. He exit the cohort. So we follow people who have no cancer. So that means from very child onwards, we start to follow them up until they are detected as cancer, or they are dead, or they are lost to follow up. So that's the end point of cohort study. So in your case, if you want to, so in addition to radiation, we had the questions in the questionnaire. So this was our secondary motto. First was radiation, secondary motto was tobacco or other lifestyle related this. So in your case, because you don't have radiation or some other big thing to check, so if you are thinking like you can try for smoking and then endpoint is cancer or endpoint is another disease.
So how do you start it? Is you find a problem?
So you can, first you make a decision like who will be your,
The subject.
who are the subjects. For
Mhm.
example, Jember City or your people who are medical students. So you make a decision who are your subjects and then make the baseline survey. So baseline survey is where we get all the information. So once you have a strong baseline survey, you can follow them up and students can actually follow them up. You don't need to do anything. It will become automatically happening. Yeah, it's like students' regular work to collect the information who become positive or, positive for cancer. And if they become positive, students can contact them and find out what kind of cancer or check with the hospital which they went and check the ICD code for which kind of cancer they, or check their medical records to understand what kind of cancer it is exactly. Because we can't believe them and make our data, so we need to double check it with the hospital, the thing, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you so much.
Another big work. Is there any other questions? Yeah. Mongo.
Okay, thank you. My name is Enda. I come from Faculty of Pharmacy. So I have two questions. Yours not only studied the tobacco use habit, but also the alcohol drinking habits, right? So I think those two factors are interplaying. So do you also analyze which one of them plays a more critical role in forming the cancer, or you just, okay, those are the factors for the result of cancer development? And the second question is, do you have also the data for the passive smoker? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for that wonderful question. Second question I like more. We don't have the data. So, yeah, because 1990s, I think passive smoking was not a big knowledge for scientists. They did not think passive smoking can cause a lot of problems, or our team or our people who help us to set up the cohort, like giving us more advice about making the questionnaire, they did not input such question in our questionnaire. So we don't have the questionnaire for passive smoking. Yeah, that is one of the, we can't make any papers related to passive smoking. Yeah, that's right. That's the bad part of it. What was the first question? Yeah, for all of these papers which I showed now, we checked for the alcohol also. But I don't remember the exactly result, but many of them are related. Like, for example, gastric cancer was not related to the alcohol drinking, but hypopharynx was related. So some sites where, like in case of esophagus, we even did the sub-site analysis. So, and different histology we checked. So in some of the cancers which we already know, the subsite is also important. We check the subsite also. Yes, we have the information clearly written in the paper, but because this talk was about tobacco, so I just tried to hide a bit the alcohol, the effect of alcohol. But yeah, you can see the results in the papers. Yeah. Thank you for the question.
Okay. Thank you. Is there any more questions? Before she's leaving back to Japan tomorrow. Yeah, Mas.
Good afternoon. Thank you. My name is Ashandi. As a part of the clinical students, it is very wonderful and inspiring to see the efforts that put into the research and also the tobacco smoking cessation program in India. My question, and also share a bit of my reflections in the experience in the hospital as a clinical student, that I think there are many smokers that understand already about the health hazardous effects of smoking, but they really wait until the very last moment, until like all of the complications arise, such as stroke, cancer, and so on and so forth. And I assume that there is addiction perhaps involved around that, because from what I know, if I'm not mistaken, nicotine metabolism also involves the alteration in cellular level, especially in CYP2A6 signaling, if I'm not mistaken. So I was wondering if psychotherapy or addiction specialists would be helpful to be involved in like the tobacco cessation program, and does it like the program that was presented involving that, because the quitting rates were remarkable, like almost 50% or more. And the second one is because the challenge to make smokers quit, like is it better to maximize the efforts in tobacco cessation for the current smoker, or is it better to prioritize it for the prevention so that people will not smoke? Yeah, those are my questions. Thank you.
Actually, I want to ask you about this too. You talk about the tobacco center. I was like wondering what's inside that tobacco centers, and then regarding to what Mas Adrian Sandy said, he was like asking about
Tobacco
the
centers.
psychotherapy.
We have
Yeah.
tobacco centers in every district in the state.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have initial stages counseling, but of course free tobacco cessation support is given. You don't need to charge any money. So that's the main thing, because if you go to the private clinic, you need to pay money, and many people are not willing to pay and get rid of it. So the government centers are completely free, and they do more activity. They're trying to bring students, or the young people who are in the beginning stage of smoking, and they trying to target population, the community.
Psychotherapy helps.
Yes, of course it affects, but I don't know how many of our district can offer that kind of facility. If we can, it's nice.
It is done by a specific trained person, or you can just.
It's done by trained persons.
Is
Yeah,
it-
that's why we
does
have
it
only one in a district. District is
does it have
quite
to
big.
Does it have to be a doctor, or you just any kind of background?
No. It should be a doctor.
It should be a
Yeah,
doctor.
it should be a doctor.
Yeah, it helps. So it helps. You're not
Yeah.
smoking, aren't you? Are you sure? Yeah. Okay.
Another question. Also.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
forgot in the
The
discussion.
second question is whether if you have to choose, whether you're going to choose to prevent someone from smoking, or the one who's already smoking, you're trying to make them cessation their smoking.
I
to
think
quit.
both is important.
If you have to choose, Atira, you have to choose. Atira.
I can't choose
Oh, okay, you
because
can't
we do
choose.
both. As you said, we just not do research. Research and make publication, and then that's it. No, it doesn't work in that way. We should prevent in young generation, targeting the children especially, because if they are, so you don't have much effort later. So you can prevent if you really want me to choose, I think prevention. Because already smokers, let them have whatever disease they want to. But children,
We're not listening.
children we should be prevent. At least they should not be able to get tobacco products. That we as adults or parents, we should, or the government should make sure that children cannot get it at least till 18 years or something. In Japan, it is not possible. Even I go to the shop and ask for cigarette, they ask my ID. I don't look like a child, but they ask my ID. So I tell them I am so old, but they say no, give me your ID. If you don't have ID, no cigarette. So, but yeah, that's the thing, you know, that kind of assurance should be given to the people. It's, I think the governments should do it,
Yeah.
or you should push the government to do it,
You
so that the
should push-
children cannot get
yeah,
it.
Yeah. And thinking about your scouts, your Boy Scout, and all those children doing all those positive stuff, is it still going on until now in the society? The junior school feels that they become cooler, they smoke. Is it still going on until now? Oh my gosh, that is so lame. So lame, right? In Indonesian, when you were like going to junior school and you have smoke on your hand,
Peer pressure.
yeah,
Yeah.
like you look cool, even though it doesn't.
I think it's the same, I think all over the
Is
world.
it?
When friends smoke, you
Oh.
want to smoke. Sometimes some people try smoking and they don't like it. They end up, okay, no need because I have very bad cough or something. Even I know some of the Indonesian people who doesn't smoke, men. And when I asked them, why don't you smoke? Because in your country everyone smoke. And then they said, I tried with my friends. And then
But I can't.
I
They're
coughed so
coughing,
badly. And then I couldn't use it.
Yeah. Okay. So watching your PowerPoint slide about those scouts give me ideas about all those, what was it? Public health can do to teach youngs,
Exactly, you can do
Boy
on
Scouts.
every
because
New
I
Year.
never thought about
every-
that before.
Not New Year, on the Tobacco Control Day or even New Year, you can do that, organize that kind of program for the children,
Okay.
so they can be smoke police or something like
Yeah.
that. They can detect and try to identify.
Yeah. Okay. Any other thoughts, questions? No. I have one question, maybe last one. You've talked a lot about cancers and stuff, but I haven't heard about topical diseases or maybe something not malignant related to tobacco.
Actually, yeah, probably, yeah, we need to, but you know, the problem is that, again, we don't have an active registration system.
Yeah.
Like in countries like Japan, it's easy.
No,
They
I mean-
have all the data. But in our case, even if non-malignant, you know, it's difficult to find it. So.
But you have it. I mean, you
Yeah, we have
now.
it. We have it. But we haven't written any paper. But probably we can do in future because we have the huge data set.
Buerger's disease is quite a lot here.
Yeah.
Peripheral arterial diseases.
Yeah, but I'm not sure how much of that, like tobacco-related, other than cancer, is in our cohort area or in India, because, yeah, we haven't really
Okay.
analyzed about that
Yeah,
data.
there's a lot here, and some of them work in tobacco plantations whatsoever, and that's why it came across to my mind because I didn't see it on your paper. Maybe we can do that in the future.
The thing is that we don't have tobacco in our cohort
Yeah.
area. We don't have farmers. We don't. That's why I haven't seen a tobacco plant previously. So.
So you're so happy.
Yeah, now I'm very happy in
Yeah.
Indonesia. I feel so lucky that I came here to see.
Alhamdulillah. Okay. No more questions? Thoughts? Nothing? Okay, so I guess that's it. You can get your rest and prepare
Thank
for
you so
tonight.
much.
Okay, so I have just a small resume that it's not really a resume. The thing that we are lack of is we are so weak on data, basic data, collecting data. So after hearing you and your thoughts about how easy and doable this cohort study, it is like, okay, we have to start this. But then come another problems that if you want to do big, you have to do big. So guys, let's start doing this and stop alibiing by doing small researches. I hope one of us after this, coming out from this room, have thoughts of start doing this thing, so maybe we can help Dave to push the government to make some changes to our tobacco stuff thing. Thank you, Atira, so much.
Thank you
I hope
so
you're getting
much.
better, and I hope your travel to Surabaya and Japan smoothly. and arrive safely. Thank you
I
so
also
much.
hope I reach back safely to
Okay.
Japan.
Thank you. Big applause for Atira.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Let's go back. Mbak Fetri.
Thank you so much for Dr. Laksmi for guiding the lecture. And for the next event, it is giving the accessories from University of Jember to Atira Sensei. So respectfully to Dr. Septa as the chairman of this committee, and to Atira Sensei to come forward to give the souvenir. So for the documentation, one, two, three. One more time. One, two, three. So the next is the souvenir. Okay, one, two, three. One more time. One, two, three. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, once more time, thank you so much for Atira Sensei for sharing us today, and also to Dr. Laksmi for guiding the lecture. And before we step onto the next agenda, for the all participants who haven't filled out the submission form, here is the QR code for our submission form to get your e-certificate. So please, for the QR code, here you can scan it and fill out the submission form so you can get the e-certificate. And for the participant in the Zoom meeting, you can also get the link in the Zoom chat. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now we have come to the end of this event. Hopefully, from this guest lecture, we can enrich our knowledge about tobacco and also can know more about how tobacco can affect to our health and how to control it in public health. So, we would like to thank to all the sponsors who supporting this event, and on behalf of the entire organizing committee, we apologize if there are something that are not pleasing during this event. Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam Agromedis.